All right, so everyone's talking about AI taking over the world, right? Like you've probably seen the headlines. You've maybe even played with those AI image generators or chatbots.
Yeah.
But today we're going way deeper than all that hype.
Yeah.
This is not just about cool tech.
Right.
It's about a revolution that's happening quietly. And it's going to reshape everything.
You know what I think is fascinating? It's the speed of it all.
Yeah.
It's like a fundamental shift in power, not just in the tech world, but everywhere in our lives. Think about it. Just a few years ago, AI was mostly just a novelty.
Oh, totally. Like, remember those AI-generated cat pictures everyone was sharing?
Exactly.
Hilarious, but not exactly world-changing.
Exactly. Now, AI is writing news articles, composing music, even designing buildings.
Yeah.
And the pace of this development, it's staggering.
Yeah.
Even experts who've been studying AI for decades, they're blown away by how quickly it's all happening.
Okay, so like, give me an example. What's something that surprised even the people who are supposed to know all about this stuff?
Well, let's take OpenAI. Back in 2019, they launched this language model called GPT-2. It was so advanced, they actually held back from releasing the full version.
Really?
They were worried about potential misuse.
Seriously. They had this powerful AI and they just kept it hidden away.
They did. But fast forward just 4 years to 2023 and they launched GPT-4.
Wow.
This thing can understand images, write complex code, have in-depth conversations. It's a completely different ballgame.
So in just a few years, we went from AI considered too dangerous to release to AI that's basically everywhere. That's a little unsettling, isn't it? I mean, what does that kind of rapid progress mean for us, like in the real world?
Well, one thing is it means AI is replacing jobs much faster than anyone predicted. And not just in creative fields. We're talking about customer service, finance, even medicine. Did you know that AI chatbots are now handling something like 90% of customer service queries for companies like Amazon?
90%. That's crazy. No wonder I feel like I'm talking to a robot half the time I call customer service. But it's not just about jobs disappearing, right? It feels like this whole AI evolution is about to change way more than just how we work.
Absolutely. It's helpful to think about it like historical shifts in technology. The Industrial Revolution, for example, wasn't just about new machines. It completely reshaped the society, the economy, even how people thought about the world. We might be at the beginning of a similar change, but this time it's AI driving it.
Yeah, and this rapid evolution isn't happening in some kind of bubble. There's a whole power struggle going on behind the scenes, right?
Yeah.
Like a high-stakes poker game in Silicon Valley, and the future's the prize.
Exactly. The players in this game are the biggest names in tech. Microsoft, Google, OpenAI, they all want control over this incredibly powerful technology, and the stakes are huge.
Okay, so break it down for me. What are these companies doing to try and win this AI arms race?
Okay, well, look at Microsoft. They just put a massive $10 billion into OpenAI. That wasn't just about funding innovation. It was a strategic move to take control of one of the most promising AI companies out there.
So they saw where things were going and decided to buy their way to the front of the line. Smart. But what about the others? Where does someone like Google fit in?
Google's in an interesting spot. Their DeepMind subsidiary has been leading groundbreaking AI research for years. But now they're under pressure as rivals like OpenAI are catching up, even surpassing them in some areas.
So Google's got the brains, but Microsoft might have the upper hand in actually getting this powerful AI out into the world. Starting to see why you call this a war, these companies are betting billions with the future on the line.
And it gets even more complex when you bring in geopolitics. China, for example, is pouring resources into AI development, especially in areas like surveillance and military tech.
So it's not just companies fighting, it's whole nations.
Exactly. China has actually developed an AI-powered surveillance system that can track over 1 billion citizens.
1 billion people, that's a lot. Is that even possible?
It is, and it shows just how high the stakes are in this global AI competition. The potential benefits are huge. Faster innovation solutions to problems we can't even solve today, but the risks are just as big. We could see a future where AI is used for good, but also where it's misused in ways we can't even imagine. And this leads us to the big question. What happens when these AI systems get even more powerful? What does a future dominated by AI actually look like?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. Up until now, we've talked about AI that can write articles or play games. What happens when it starts making decisions that really impact our lives?
Well, imagine AI running global corporations, not just automating tasks, but actually making strategic decisions in real time, managing resources, negotiating deals, all faster and maybe even better than any human CEO could.
So the CEO's office is basically a server room.
In a way, yes. But it goes even further. Imagine self-learning AI developing technologies we can't even understand,
Okay.
technologies that could solve some of humanity's biggest challenges, but maybe also create new ones we haven't even thought of yet.
Okay, now that does sound a bit sci-fi. Are we really talking about AI that's smarter than humans?
It's not about smarter. In the usual way AI is good at different things. It can process information at speeds we can't even imagine, see patterns we miss, make connections we wouldn't even consider.
So it's a different kind of intelligence, but still powerful enough to maybe change our world. What would that even look like? Got any real-world examples?
Sure, think about autonomous trading systems. These systems are already responsible for over 75% of stock market transactions.
Seriously, AI is already in charge of the stock market.
They are, and they're doing it with speed and precision that no human trader could match. Reacting to market shifts in milliseconds, making decisions that impact the entire global economy.
So AI is already controlling trillions of dollars in the stock market. If they can do that, what's to stop them from taking over other parts of our lives? I mean, what happens when AI starts influencing things like healthcare or even political policy?
Those are exactly the questions we need to be thinking about, because the answers will shape the world for generations to come. The problem is we're kind of rushing towards a future that nobody's ready for.
Yeah, it feels like we're standing on a cliff looking out at this huge, unknown landscape. It's exciting, but also kind of scary. What do we even do in that kind of situation?
Well, the first step is recognizing we're not powerless. We have a choice in how this future happens. The more we know, the better equipped we'll be to make those choices wisely.
Okay, so knowledge is power, but where do we even start? It seems like everything's moving so fast and there's just so much information.
You're right, it can be overwhelming. But it's important to start by understanding the technology itself. Learn what it can do, what it can't do. Don't just accept the hype or the fear-mongering.
So cut through the noise and get to the facts. Makes sense. But even if we get the technology, how do we make sure it's used for good? How do we stop AI from being used for control or manipulation?
That's where the discussion about ethics comes in. We have to think about the values we want to build into these AI systems. How do we make sure they're fair, transparent, accountable?
So it's not just about the tech itself, it's about the choices we make about how we develop it and use it.
Exactly. This isn't just a technological revolution, it's a societal one.
Yeah.
And it's happening faster than most people realize. The choices we make today will decide what that new frontier looks like.
It sounds like we're at a crossroads. One path leads to a future where AI empowers humanity, solves problems, creates a better world. But the other path, well, that's a little more frightening.
It is. It's a path where AI could be used to control, manipulate, even harm. Which path we choose depends on the decisions we make both individually and together. It's about recognizing that we're not just watching this AI revolution, we're part of shaping it.
So it really does feel like we're at this turning point, almost like we're at the bottom of a mountain.
Yeah.
You know, we know we have to climb it, but we don't know what we'll find at the top.
It's a good analogy. It shows that this journey into the AI age isn't going to be easy. There will be challenges, setbacks, maybe even times when we wonder if we're on the right track.
Which takes us back to that question from before. If AI can already control global markets, what's to stop it from controlling policies in the future? And maybe even more important, what role do we want in shaping that future?
Those are the questions we need to be asking right now. This isn't just for tech experts or politicians to figure out.
Right.
This is a conversation for everyone.
Because at the end of the day, this technology is going to affect us all. So where do we even start? What can we do to make sure the future with AI is one we actually want to live in?
Well, as we've been talking about, staying informed is key. Understanding the technology, its potential, what it can and can't do. Don't just read the headlines and take them at face value. Dig deeper, ask questions.
Right, knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Especially with something as powerful as AI.
Exactly. And beyond learning about it, we need to have honest conversations about the ethics of AI. What values do we want these systems to have? How do we ensure fairness, transparency, accountability?
It's like we're creating the rules for a whole new world.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure those rules benefit everyone, not just a few.
Exactly. The future of AI isn't set in stone, it's being created now. And we all have a role to play in how that happens.
It's a big task, but it's also exciting.
Right.
We have this chance to use this amazing technology for good, to solve problems, to make a better future.
And that's what I hope people take away from this deep dive. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, to demand that AI is developed and used in a way that helps all of humanity.
That's a great place to wrap up. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into AI dominance. It's complex and changing fast, but by staying informed and engaged, we can help make sure the future of AI is one we can all be part of.
Absolutely. And remember, this is just the start of the conversation. Stay curious, keep learning, and let's build a future where AI empowers everyone.
Thanks for listening to Neural Mind AI. Until next time, stay curious and question everything.